Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Ruach, double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone, who are teaching this truth in sincerity. And a shout out to Yakin that's out there in four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Ruach, Bracha Dum. So I'm here in Chico, not where I usually set up camp, but one thing I've learned from others that have been in this faith a lot longer is you take this stick wherever you go and you come out and you teach and you proclaim the word of Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai to our people. You know, that way they got a chance to repent. That way they have no excuse when the famine of the word comes, because it is coming. Make no mistake about it. You know, you can see that the mirth of this place is ceasing. There's very few Kmarts left, and eventually you know that eventually all of them will be shut down, but this is one of the few that's actually left, because of course Redding doesn't have Kmart or Sears anymore, because there's a big plan, pretty much to downsize everything to where the only stores you can go to is your Walmart, which has a direct deal with DHS, Homeland Security. And like everything else though, here in Chico, what the Paradise Fire did, pretty much had a lot of people ended up here after Paradise was completely destroyed. Brought to you by the Rothschilds, just like the fire that was on Santa Clarita, that pretty much caused Magic Mountain to be closed on Sunday. So we know that they're planning more wildfires. We know that these are being engineered by the Rothschilds, and that there's been a plan all along. It was a bigger plan to downsize, pretty much, because once you consume the houses and stones there, where do have people have left? Makes it much easier for FEMA to round them up, and that's what it's all been about. Pretty much to get everybody on the microchip systems. You know how the prison system works. You have an ankle bracelet. Well, eventually that's going to be replaced by, and that's RFID anyways, but eventually that's going to be replaced by putting in your right hand or in your forehead. That way they keep track of your every move. Not just those that are on probation, felony probation or whatever. They're eventually going to pretty much do this to everyone. So, like everything else though, you better get it while you still can, because the time of us being able to come out and prophesy is eventually going to cease, when they shut this thing down, and they will, because you can already see though that the one that they call Syrian girl is no longer, well, not that she's no longer, but pretty much though, they've been coming after her as well. They've taken down the Syrian government channels. Anything that proposes an objection to the Zionist entity that runs everything, which is the helm of Esau, Edom, Amalek, because he's got a rat's control everything, what you say and what you think. So, anything that opposes their war and their plan, which we know that they've always had a plan to balkanize and take over Syria, to weaken Iran with an attack on Syria and on Yemen, to pretty much, so-called weaken Iran. But it has failed, because like everything else though, Iran is not like Iraq. You can't just take down Iran without there being response from the rest of the world. And that's what this third woe is about. Pretty much this is what's going to cause the nations to hate the whore, Babylon the Great, and to utterly burn her with fire. So, better get this while you still can, because, our people are going to run to and fro, but they will not find us anymore. They don't want to come to us right now. They want to scoff at us and, say, oh, well, that's not going to happen. I've been hearing that for years, or whatever else. No, you haven't heard this truth. You haven't heard that the one that they ignorantly call Jesus Christ is a so-called black man, having hair white like wool, feet like undefined brass as they burn in a furnace. But they gave you little hints here and there, like if you watch a Good Times episode, they show you that he's not a so-called white man, an Edomite. But they still go and pray to Caesar Borgia, even though these people, the mother in Good Times still knew what his image really truly was like, but still prays to Caesar Borgia in every episode thereafter. It was only like the third or fourth episode. Well, that's the way 2/3 of our people are. They know that they still go to these whorehouses that they like to call churches, and they still pray to Caesar Borgia, like they show in Good Times. Slovakia for that. Like everything else, though, that didn't have a lot of memory space, because you can't do live lessons unless you have 1,000 subscribers. I don't fall under that category. Nonetheless, though, they're pretty much trying to stop this word from going out, but yet it's already reached its peak, man. So there's nothing more that they can do except just go ahead, bring in the famine of the word, so we know that we've done, this thing's a wrap, because occupy until the Most High starts to make his return. So pretty much they'll have a famine of this word. They won't be able to get this word anymore. And I'm going to read out of Lamentation chapter 4 and verse 5. They that did feed delicately are desolate in the streets. They that were brought up in scarlet embryons, dunghills. That's talking about this place, Babylon the Great, better known as the scarlet colored beast. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom, that was overthrown as in a moment, and no hand stayed on her. Yeah, because of course this place is Sodom and Egypt spiritually. Her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. Their visage is blacker than a coal, proving to you that the Israelites weren't so-called red Hebrew Edomites, They weren't so-called white people, that they had dark skin. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It has become like a stick, And that's just it, though, is pretty much, though, this word, has gone out, and eventually they're going to be seeking this, but it's going to be too late. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. Because you are going to have starvation out here, and that's the worst way to go. We've been telling you that before, that the famine was going to hit, And you can see, though, that all these weather modifications and weathered storms, though, is causing one thing: famine to come. A lot of people just, don't think that it's going to happen, but it's going to come. They didn't think the stock market crash in 1929 or if 2008 was going to happen, but it did. Like I said, you've been given little signs here and there. The fact that there isn't very many Kmart's left, or now, Shopko's gone completely. There isn't any more Payless shoes. All these places of mirth are ceasing, so the time to get this word is now, while you still can, because you're going to be seeking for it, and it won't be here. All of you that laughed and scoffed, and still continue to pray to Caesar Borgia, went to those 501c3 churches, and pretty much still worship him, worship Caesar Borgia, because you're not worshiping Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai does not look like a so-called white man, and that's just it. You're not even trying to get this, but you'll want it one day, and it'll be gone. So like everything else, though, we're going to keep on proclaiming this word while we still can. So get it while you still can. For that, I want to say Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rukal Kadash, Bracha Dom. And death to America, and death to you 2/3.